Human remains found inside a home on Detroit's west side, and they're believed to belong to a missing mother of 4.
I have to tell these kids. Their mother was killed.
33-year-old LaTima Warren, a mother of 4, went missing shortly after Christmas in 2021. Family and friends visited her house to see her newborn child almost every day, but they could never tell where she went. But when things started to seem fishy, a family member reported her missing. As the police and community began searching for the missing mother, they found something gruesome that none of them could ever imagine. So, what happened to LaTima? Who did it to her? And where is the perpetrator now? Stay tuned as we attempt to find answers to these questions in today's video and tell you the story of the young mother whose life was taken in the most brutal way possible. LaTima Warren was a resident of Tyerman and Vaughan on Detroit's west side in Michigan. She was 33 years old at the time of the unfortunate incident. LaTima had 3 children from an earlier relationship, and 2 of those children were in their teenage years. She was in a relationship with a 44-year-old man named Rondell Waters, and the 2 had just welcomed their first and LaTima's 4th child. So, she had 4 children in total. LaTima and Rondell hit it off pretty well. Everyone knew them to be in a steady relationship and a loving couple, but only their neighbors knew the true story. Reportedly, they would often hear yelling and heated arguments coming from the couple's apartment. But just like most couples, they would patch up soon after, so no one ever interfered in their personal affairs. LaTima's children were loved by all of her family members. On top of that, she was very close to the grandmother of her 3 older children, Gwen Parks. As all 3 children lived with their mother and Rondell in his apartment, Gwen often visited that house to see them and spend some quality time together. After Christmas 2021, around December 20th, LaTima stopped communicating with her family members. They kept looking for her everywhere. Gwen followed her routine and went to visit her grandchildren at Rondell's house. But this time she was greeted differently. She immediately knew that something wasn't right. She kept looking for LaTima everywhere. And finally, on December 22nd, she filed an official missing persons report. The police began the initial investigation after a week, that too, quite reluctantly. They came to her house on December 28th, searched it, and couldn't find anything. They walked out and didn't seem to be taking the case too seriously. But Gwen didn't give up. She continued pestering the officers until they finally announced that LaTima was missing on January 7th, 2022. Their community came forward to search for LaTima. During the investigation, Gwen never wavered from her duties. She put up flyers all around the block and joined search parties to find the missing mother. The community was doing everything they could to find LaTima because they believed that she was alive and had run into some trouble.
I'm the only person that's been on this case, okay? I've been working for the last 3 to 4 weeks trying to get the police to come in here. I was a one-man show out here looking for LaTima every day, every morning, looking for her.
The street search was organized by Minister Malik Shabazz, who was also a community activist. According to Gwen, he was the only person who listened to her attentively and took her pointers and opinions during the search.
But yes, we got the ball rolling.
A few days into the search, they suddenly noticed something odd. Gwen and Shabazz said that they saw someone digging in LaTima's backyard. The plot there was disturbed and seemed suspicious. Both of them knew that something wasn't right there. Shabazz suggested that someone was planning to bury something, or someone, in that plot.
And I said, either she is in there, or he's getting ready to put her in there.
They went to take a closer look at the disturbed plot and made a shocking discovery. They found a bag with LaTima's personal belongings stuffed inside. Gwen contacted the police immediately. They came and found the items dumped on the plot, and then issued an official warrant to search the house and its perimeters on January 17th. And that's when they finally got their hands on what they were searching for. And mind you, the results weren't pleasant.
After she discovered LaTima's clothing, baby formula dumped in the backyard, and a patch of dirt that had been dug up inside the home, sources confirm police found several bags of human remains.
The officers found those bags inside the house in the basement area that LaTima shared with her boyfriend, Rondell. There were multiple bags with those remains. Police sent them to forensics. The reporters arrived at the crime scene, and the news spread like wildfire.
A community search to find LaTima Warren led Detroit police to a gruesome discovery. Dismembered human remains were found Monday at a home on the 8000 block of Vaughan in Detroit.
As the reporters spoke to Gwen, she informed them that the police had only told her about finding some pieces inside the house, and nothing more than that.
He told me that they found some pieces in the house.
Gwen told them that the police had taken the pieces and wanted to do further testing before coming to a conclusion.
The body right now is still in the morgue, and they haven't finished identifying it yet. They want me to come down and release a statement.
According to police, Warren was shot and killed before being dismembered, and a baby, possibly LaTima's 3-month-old infant, was present in the house when her life was taken, and her body was dismembered. Gwen said that she'd sensed something was wrong long ago. Even after LaTima's disappearance, she continued to visit her house to see her grandchildren. She said that unlike the times when LaTima was around, Rondell didn't let her enter the house. She also noticed that the house had a strong smell of an all-purpose cleaner, and it seemed unusual to her. She also claimed that Rondell knew that there was a search party out there for LaTima, but he never uttered a single word about her.
They reported LaTima missing December 22nd and went to the home every day to speak to the boyfriend to check on their newborn baby. He would not let them in. They said the house smelled of pine sol, reeked of pine sol, and he never spoke of her, even though they were searching for her every single day.
When reporters spoke to Shabazz about finding the remains, he seemed disgusted at whoever did it.
Obviously, anybody who cuts up another human being is sick.
And now everybody wanted to know whose remains were in LaTima's house and how they reached LaTima's apartment. Her close ones could only pray that it wouldn't be her remains. Now the police had a different experience when they obtained the warrant and came to check LaTima's home. According to the officers who raided the house, they sensed a strong odor of a decomposing body inside. After searching the rest of the house, when they looked in the basement, they made the horrific discovery of body parts placed in garbage bags. The bags were carefully hidden, but the perpetrator couldn't get rid of the smell. The officers came equipped with police dogs, which made the job much easier. They retrieved the bags and took them to the lab. They came back the next day and searched once again to find even more body parts hidden in the attic.
The police took cadaver dogs out on Monday, and again on Tuesday those dogs hit on those remains, and they found those remains inside the house.
They took Rondell into custody immediately.
Right now, that woman's boyfriend is in police custody as sources revealed to the defenders what they found inside a house on Detroit's west side.
Body parts found in multiple places in that house.
Gwen was well aware of the case updates. She spoke to the reporters and informed them that the newborn was with family members and was safe.
Right now he's in police custody. I think they took him up to the 6th precinct. He's in custody, and the baby, her 3-month-old baby, is with the uncle. He's safe and is okay.
Gwen told the reporters how the officers had gotten their hands on Rondell. From the description, it seemed as if he might have resisted arrest because the neighbors could hear some commotion, followed by the noise of bullets being fired.
LaTima was knocking on the door at about 3 o'clock in the morning, crying, trying to get into the house, banging on the door. He eventually opened the door. The neighbor said she heard about 4 gunshots.
Police figured out that Rondell's father was also living with them in the same house. It was possible that he knew about Rondell and LaTima's deteriorating relationship, and knew about him taking her life, and then trying to hide her body by dismembering it. Gwen said that he should come forward and help the police so that they could arrest Rondell as soon as possible.
I want the dad to turn himself in and let the police know everything he know about his son.
As reporters demanded answers from Police Chief James White, he informed them that the remains might be of LaTima, but they needed to conduct more tests to confirm.
Detroit Police Chief White, who is saying all indications are pointing that the remains found are LaTima Warren's. However, DNA testing still needs to take place.
Although they couldn't be sure before the test results came out, all the existing evidence pointed toward the possibility of the remains being hers.
Now, at this time, we cannot officially confirm that the human remains found at the location are in fact Ms. Warren. We do have to wait for positive identification from the medical examiner for it to be official, but sadly, all things point to the fact that this is in fact, sadly, Ms. Warren.
He added, "Our hearts go out to the family and friends of Ms. Warren," DPD Chief James White said in a statement via social media. "This is beyond tragic, and I am thankful for the men and women of the Detroit Police Department who have worked tirelessly on this case." Gwen and the rest of the family were devastated after discovering the gruesome news about LaTima's remains being found. She recalled her as a kind and helpful person who only saw the best in people.
She was just a sweet, bubbly young lady, you know. She'd give you really the shirt off her back.
But the most difficult job was to tell LaTima's kids about the truth. Although 2 were teens, they were still too young to hear about something so gruesome. But even if she left out the horrible details, she would still have to tell them that their mother wouldn't return ever again.
I have to tell these kids. Their mother was killed.
Gwen told the reporters that she had brief contact with Rondell when she visited his apartment to meet her grandchildren. He would tell her that he hadn't seen or heard from LaTima for a few days, and this made her question why he wasn't seeking help to find her.
He told me he hadn't seen Tima in 4 days, and you didn't call anyone, you didn't say anything to anyone.
Gwen did her job well. Her perseverance ensured that LaTima's remains were found, but she missed her dearly and wanted her to know that she wouldn't have given up on her, ever.
I still want to let her know, when it's all said and done, I did not give up looking for her, and I knew she was out there.
She reiterated the details of the case and said she couldn't imagine the pain LaTima must have gone through when Rondell decided to take her life. Then he cut her up, and she clearly didn't deserve to go this way. After learning the details of the incident, she questioned Rondell's sanity.
I don't want to just even picture her being cut up and dismangled by this guy. The pain she had to be going through. This is not a human that would do something like this to a person.
But she was satisfied because LaTima's remains were found, and they wouldn't have to sit and wait for her to return for years. The pain and frustration of waiting for her would be excruciating, and Gwen was happy that she and LaTima's children would now have a sense of closure.
It means a lot to me to have closure because, you know what, I know people go years without finding their loved ones, and this is not how I wanted to find her, but I didn't want to give up looking for her.
LaTima's other family members also spoke to the reporters and were just as heartbroken as Gwen. "It was pretty hard," said Adrian Warren, LaTima's older brother. "I knew something was wrong." Her mother, Cherita Warren, was in denial and couldn't believe that someone could do something so horrible to her sweet daughter. Cherita Warren still wrestles with questions on sleepless, grief-stricken nights. How could a person do something like that who was just lovable? She didn't deserve what happened to her. It was really an awful thing. The family set up a GoFundMe page to cover her funeral, legal affairs, and childcare. Gwen took the page to express her grief and frustration over the detective who made the search even more difficult for her and LaTima's family. She wrote, "I want to share my story of how I spent the past 3 weeks searching for my grandkid's mother. LaTima Warren, Tima, leaving no stone unturned. I asked favors from everyone I knew, and they came through for me. Bless you, all because the Detroit police detective Ruiz treated her like a runaway animal he thought no one loved and cared for. She wasn't giving the same energy that she deserved, and I wasn't given the respect I deserved by Detective Ruiz that was assigned to her case." And then she added how she came across Shabazz, who helped her put pressure on the officers and get the ball rolling. But that didn't stop me until I reached out to Minister Malik Shabazz, Black Panther, activist BLM. He prayed with me, stayed with me, until the pressure was on for the police to do their job. And she finished it by saying that she was happy to get closure, and now only needed monetary support for her funeral and taking care of her babies. "My soul is at peace because I know I did all I could do to bring Tima back to her beautiful babies alive. Her life was cut short at the tender age of 33. I come to you asking for your support to assist the family with laying Tima to rest, make sure she has a headstone, and keep her memory alive for her 4 babies. I vowed to keep the last words she said to me. That's what's up, Mama. An everlasting happy memory of her." They had a goal of $6,000 US, and they managed to raise a little more than $8,000. Apart from Gwen Parks, if anyone was to be praised for their efforts, it would be Malik Shabazz, the community activist who truly set LaTima's case in motion. And not just this case, Shabazz was active in multiple missing cases, mostly of black women, and he wanted to see all of them come home as soon as possible. People don't just disappear, he said. Someone does something and it's up to the living to speak for them. It's up to those who are not lost to look. We need all of the missing people home. He added that the frequency of these crimes was increasing every day. This is happening every day, said Malik Shabazz, founder of the Detroit New Black Panther Nation, New Marcus Garvey movement, and organizer of Monday's get-together. Satan is running amok, and he had a reason to worry. The number of homicides in Michigan wasn't looking too great in 2022. There have been 39 homicides in Detroit in 2022 as of Monday, down 7% from the 42 killings during the same period in 2021, according to Detroit police statistics. Non-fatal shootings are down 19% year-to-date from 2021, police said. Shabazz was displeased about how the officers treated LaTima's family when they requested them to look for the missing mother. He said that the officers should treat them with more kindness during these distressing times.
See, when the citizens, when the mothers call you about their cases, you got to treat them with concern and love.
He added that instead of waiting, the black community could step up and do their part. In his words, we can't wait for police or white folks to do something dastardly before we act, he said. Where are the marches when a resident is killed? Where are the boycotts? And Gwen Parks was right there to support Shabazz and the actions he took to protest the homicides and find the missing black people. I came out here to offer support because I know how it is to go through hell, Parks said. Something needs to be done. This killing needs to stop. What's going wrong? It starts at home. You've got young kids who are criminals because nobody is teaching them any better. Shabazz believed that love and compassion could go a long way. The way you solve this problem is by uplifting the community, and through love, Shabazz said. It all starts there. Love, respect, and communication, and taking responsibility for our own people. But why is the violence increasing? Sam Riddle, director of the National Action Network's Michigan chapter, also believed that it all began at home. If parents took care of their children and taught them better, they wouldn't grow up to become criminals who dismembered their partners. The violence is because of the poverty and the street values that permeate households in Detroit, said Riddle. Street values contribute to crime. Street values are the lack of concern for human life, everyone for themselves, the self-hate, the lack of love, and the lack of a viable family structure, Riddle said. That's something we don't like to deal with. So what's the easiest way to end this? Perhaps compassion and patience, and on top of that, instilling good values into children can go a long way. And according to Riddle, parents have to start the job right at their homes. It's not enough to point the finger at racism and poverty. They are there, but we can do better with our families, Riddle said. Parents need to stop trying to be buddies with their kids. We have responsibilities we are shirking, no matter how poor we are or how much racism we're subjected to. Rondell Waters was eventually charged with murder and a few other counts of crimes in LaTima Warren murder and mutilation case. He was being detained in the Andrew C. Baird detention facility without bail.
The Wayne County prosecutor has just charged this man, 44-year-old Rondell Waters, in the murder and mutilation of his girlfriend, LaTima Warren. Waters is also charged with tampering with evidence.
As of August 2024, the case is still under investigation. Rondell is in jail, and LaTima's babies are spending their days with their family members. They're happy to have Rondell behind bars, but they also want to see him prosecuted and punished for committing such a horrible crime and taking their mother away from them. What did you think of the case? Do you believe that there was any secret tied to the incident? Do you think LaTima and her boyfriend were in an abusive relationship, which eventually led her to her unfortunate demise? What do you think was the motive behind this incident? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.